chances, dreams and goals. Many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man. Choices, chances, dreams and goals. Many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome to a new episode of Life Choices. Thank you so much for being with us here today. Ramadan is going by very, very, very fast. We're now in the third week of the month of Ramadan, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it a blissful Ramadan, a Ramadan full of barakah and full of forgiveness, inshallah. And really a new beginning for all of us this year, inshallah, my dear brothers and sisters. It's a great honor to have you with us, and it's a great honor to have my guests here with me. Let me introduce them. Brother Ahmed Fayyad, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Brother Abdul Salam, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Alhamdulillah.
And Brother Isa, welcome to the program. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
My dear brothers and sisters, in this episode, inshallah, we are talking about how to manage our time during the month of Ramadan, and really how to use whatever days that are left, or we can say hours, or even seconds that are left of Ramadan, because there's not a lot left, to utilize them in the best way, so that we are able, inshallah, to have a lot of benefit this Ramadan, inshallah. So, Brother Ahmed, let me begin with you and ask you, why is time management important in Ramadan? Why can't we just go with the flow, and just like wake up one day at a certain time, and another day if we're too tired, wake up at another time, and then I'll try to read some Quran here or there, maybe do some dhikr here, but I don't need to really manage my time or plan things out using like a stopwatch or a clock or a written schedule or something like that.
All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, the beginning. In the previous two episodes, we spoke about planning, right? And time management is directly linked to planning, because when you plan also by time. If I am going to read Quran just before Fajr, an hour before Fajr, it has to be an hour. So in order to produce more and be more productive Muslim, you have to manage your time. This is a key success factor, because if you didn't manage your time, you will be in loss. You cannot let the flow goes. It all with planning, and planning comes well with time management. You have to cut the wastes. So in the previous episode, you were speaking of we kill time in Ramadan, right? We have 30 minutes to iftar, an hour to iftar. We have to use this time. When you live 30 minutes here and an hour there, how many hours we have in the whole day? And it goes very, very fast. Not the 24 hours we used to get. The pass, it's like a bullet. It's very fast, so you have to make best of it. I used to have a friends telling me, so Ahmed, the last hour before iftar, the best thing to kill it is to play with the PlayStation. And he came to me once with the whole device and choice, etc. Ahmed, we'll try it, and you will find the last hour before iftar, it flies. You will not believe it. At this time, this was around maybe 10 years ago. I said, okay, Muhammad, fine, let's go with it. And it killed. But later on, when I started to read more about time, productivity, Islam, etc., I found that this is very destructive, because this hour should be invested. Time is money. And here in Ramadan, it's not money. Time is Islam. Time is productivity. So we have to manage.
Time is hasanat, time is good deeds.
There's lots of things. So this hour before iftar and the hour after iftar, these are crucial times. You have to know.
Why is that the case?
Sorry?
Why is that the case?
Why is that the case? Is it crucial?
Yeah.
Because see, it is an hour just before iftar. I have nothing to do. No, while you already have time. As long as you have time, you have lots to do. My advice to people, when they fall into the time just an hour before iftar, an hour after iftar, or between Isha and Taraweeh. See some normal or regular tasks you do. Don't create. No need for creation now. Keep the normal and regular tasks that need no creation or extra effort. To do this, save them to this hour. This is my advice to you.
Can you give us some examples?
Maybe, for example, myself, other than helping my family in cooking and like this, sometimes I read or teach lessons to the kids, my nephews and niece, because I use sometimes for moral lessons to teach them some of the Islam, some of the normal day-to-day interactions and activities. So I use this for the kids, or sometimes when I read Quran.
That's very interesting. So we can use that last hour before iftar, to do something productive instead of just sitting there and killing it, playing PlayStation or something like that. That would be a great idea to what you just said. To teach like a young group of kids. Maybe they could be your children or your relatives or something like that.
Yes.
So basically, you're quote unquote killing their time and yours by doing something productive.
Yes.
So
and
and
they will
learning
not
something.
think about, hey, it's time to eat, because I prepare for it, for
Yeah.
these lessons, and I spend effort for it. So I grab their attention, and they all sit and like this. And lots of time I not just talk, I interact with them. So they are interacted. Sometimes their mom say, it's iftar time. No, we need to continue with uncle. Hey, come on, we'll continue after iftar or the next day.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. What are your thoughts about time management in Ramadan, brother?
Yeah, it's really valuable. As we move through Ramadan, we will see how valuable it is, and especially when we set goals for ourselves. And the brother was mentioning, when we have a goal, we have to systematically work to the goal to accomplish it, inshallah. So even if we're in the retreat in itikaf, or we're even at home and we say, okay, we want to complete the whole Quran, you will find that these 30 days, well, it's not a lot of time.
Definitely.
And even in itikaf, I was speaking in a previous show, and our purpose is really to cleanse our heart. And 10 days is a little time; it's a lifelong process. So your time management is very important to accomplish these goals. And also speaking about like the hour before we break our fast, and within this hour is a beautiful time, because it's a time of dua, that we make supplication, because it's two reasons, right? Or Allah knows how many reasons there are, but two reasons that I could think of. One, but before Salat al-Maghrib, before the Salat after the sun sets, this is a good time to make dua daily. I believe it's a sunnah. And before you break your fast, this is also a good time to make dua. It's a good time. So this is like the double ajr or multiplied rewards. So in this time, before fast, if I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking at the water and dates, like, okay, or I'm making, okay, this is a time of supplication, getting my last supplications in before the adhan, you know what I mean? And especially in the last days of Ramadan too, and we want to get much forgiveness as possible, much mercy, and much distance away from the hellfire, as possible, especially going into the last 10 days of Ramadan. So these supplications is so much, it's valuable, special times that they are exponential. And but for iftar, and it's one of those.
Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it, Brother Ahmed. I want to come back to you. There's a misconception, really, or we can say a myth, or maybe it's true. I'm not sure that. Really, when you manage your time, whether it's in Ramadan or outside of Ramadan, you basically don't have time just for yourself to chill, just to relax. And even if you do, then it's planned. And that's not a lot of fun. Why live like that? Why don't you just live your life, to the fullest, like they say, like it is. And, if I accomplish this today, then okay. If not, then I'll do it tomorrow.
All right. This comes to remind me of two situations, Osama. One of them, I was following a doctor in an university in UK called Dr. Abdul Hakim, and he became already a Muslim.
MashaAllah.
Dr. Abdul Hakim said, if a life without a methodology and planning, it will be a total failure. An individual will be lost. So it has to be planned. When you let yourself go with the flow, you let yourself vulnerable to risks, to after Ramadan, to shaitan, to your negative thoughts, etc. So it has to be planned. And this is part of the challenges. Sometimes, yes, you need to get free of constraints and free of tides, fine, and need to chill out and relax. According to my personal experience in this, because in a certain time and when I started to really get close to God, I noticed that my best part is after Fajr prayer. And I had a friend of mine, he used to go for every week for doing a certain type of massage, sports, etc. And he advised me to do this. And I did it before, and it is magnificent, fine. But the best I felt before, after Fajr prayer. I go to the mosque and I pray Fajr. On my way back from the mosque to home, I felt something strange physically, as I did a miracle to my body. So I really chill out on this. And during a short time, and already it gave me the power for more productivity. So I managed my time, I reduced my time waste, and I became more productive. Because if I spend more than an hour and doing some sports and massage for chill out, I do it just in 5 to 10 minutes in my back home from mosque to my home after Fajr prayer and after each salah. But Fajr, it was the most recognizable.
Jazakallah khair. Barakallah feek. Brother Isa, is there, in your opinion, a relationship between a lot of free time and falling in the traps of shaitan?
Absolutely. I mean, I would definitely say one of the things that really helped me out to just in general, stay on track is always keep myself busy. You know, find something that you're passionate about, right? I mean, and this is from like an Islamic, standpoint. I mean, I find a lot of, for example, reverts, they have that passion, that ambition to do da'wah, for example.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is that you're passionate about, that you love to do, keep yourself busy, when you have that free time. Because it's when you have your free time, you're isolated, you're alone, you're feeling bored, you get an idea to do something, and
that's when the shaitan kicks in.
That's when you're the most vulnerable, I mean, so it's a matter of being around, good brothers, good companies, being in good company, and really doing something. So, and another, the next step basically after, doing da'wah, you have, new Muslims.
Yeah.
Right? And so many times, especially during Ramadan, these new Muslims get neglected. Maybe when they become Muslim, everybody's happy for them, and, they give them a hug, and there's sometimes 200 people lined up to give the brother a hug, but nobody's actually there to, give him that support.
Yeah.
Pick him up and bring him to the masjid if he doesn't have a ride. See how he's doing. Invite him for iftar. Teach him the basics. I mean, there's so much reward in that. I mean, imagine teaching someone just the Al-Fatiha, and then that person goes and prays Al-Fatiha,
17 times a day.
17 times a day, and all it took you was a few hours just to teach.
And not only that, he'll be teaching it to his or her children as well.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, how, things could change so much. I mean, someone becoming Muslim and then them marrying a Muslim and having children and them having children. The reward is one brother really put it, very nicely in a lecture I was listening to. It was about da'wah, and he said, if you can tell me of something that's more rewardable than, basically giving da'wah, that person starting to practice Islam and, so on and so forth.
You have a domino effect.
Yeah, having that domino. It's if there's something that has more reward, then tell me, and I would do that.
SubhanAllah. Brother Isa, also, do you think it's important for a Muslim, in order to manage his time, to have a schedule? Or as you guys say, schedule?
I mean, there definitely should be some, structure in place, and for example, if you're, if you start to get involved with, for example, teaching classes, or being involved with the community, there should be some structure there. Even there's a famous saying is whoever fails to plan, plans to fail. Right? So, I mean, really having that weekly plan there, what you're going to get done on the weekend, what you're going to get done throughout the week, having that plan and doing your best to stick to it. Of course, like, sometimes things don't always go as planned, but having a schedule is definitely very important. And but then also I find you have to find something that you're passionate about doing and really focus your efforts on that, and it will seem effortless, really. Yeah.
Beautiful. Brother Absalam, is there a relationship between the idea that salah in a Muslim's life is tied to time and the idea of time management?
Yeah, definitely. I believe. Allah has given us a schedule, right? He's given us our prayers, and this is really, it teaches us time management. Okay, what time is it now? If I just want to make salat, I have to, not be lazy, get up in the morning and make salat. And then, during my day, I, periodically check, okay, and I manage my time around the salat, around the prayer. So definitely it's a time management lesson. In
itself, right? It's practical too.
Yeah, a very practical time management lesson. And it's a lot of barakah in it too, right? We know. But yeah, I definitely agree.
Brother Ahmed, do you think if we plan our salahs correctly, we will automatically become good time managers? For example, like if I plan in my life that, okay, as soon as I hear the adhan, inshallah, I'm going to go make wudu, and a few minutes later, I'm going to pray my salah. Whether I'm able to do it at the masjid, or whether, I'm at work or something, or at home, or whatever the case may be, according to my situation, this is going to be what I'm going to do for every salah. I'm going to hear the adhan right away, I'm going to go make wudu, and then I'm going to pray. Sure. Do you think that in itself provides an atmosphere for a person to become a good time manager in the rest of his life activities?
Yes, of course, because time management is also a discipline. This is the soul of time management, the example you have just mentioned. Because when you pray salah at its time, not after, so you feel the huge time between salah and the one after. You feel that there is a lot to do. And when you pray salah at its time, you teach yourself discipline and, by turn, of course, time management. Because time management is a discipline. It comes over time. So you manage it best by 70%, but after a couple of months of practice, you will manage it 90% correct. And it follows, etc.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. My dear brothers and sisters, we're going to take a short break, inshallah. When we come back, we have an interesting video for you. And also, we'll continue our discussion about time management during the month of Ramadan. We'll be right back, inshallah.
Build their lives again, for them happiness let us all bring. Ramadan, from reading
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us in the Quran saying, وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Hasten to the forgiveness of your Lord, and to paradise, the width of which is the heavens and the earth, prepared for the righteous and pious. Brothers and sisters in Islam, especially in the month of Ramadan, the Prophet ﷺ tells us that when the first night of the month of Ramadan is here, the devils are chained, and a caller will call upon you, O seekers of goodness, come forth. Ya baghi al-khayr, aqbil. Hasten to goodness is our show in Ramadan. Join me, Kareem Abu Zaid, every night in the month of Ramadan and learn how can we hasten to goodness.
And sadaqah to the ones who are in great need, helping them to build their lives again, for them happiness let us all bring. Ramadan, Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters. We are talking about managing our times at our time during the month of Ramadan, inshallah. Brother Ahmed, let's give some practical advice to our sisters who have extra chores, we can say, or responsibilities during the month of Ramadan.
Actually, let's begin that this is a wrong perception or wrong habits. In order to spend most of her time in the kitchen for preparing for Ramadan food. People enter Ramadan, hey, it's Ramadan, we need every day a complete menu with chicken, meat, and heavy dishes. This is totally wrong, and it has to change during the course of Ramadan, and it puts us on the track or the discipline that we don't have so much food. So this will turn directly linked to reducing her time in the kitchen. You know, we have now some food programs called a 10-minute meal, 15-minute meal. Why? Because they know that the world now it's too fast, and we have a working woman right now in our world. So it is not fair for her to spend an hour or more in the kitchen preparing just food. Why? You could reduce your meals and do some healthy food in 15 minutes, 20, 30 minutes max. This is what I advise, because it depends on the type of food you are preparing. You don't have to spend that time. And of course, it will put you and your family in the discipline not eating too much.
Sometimes, though, you have to make food for a whole bunch of people. Like, you have to make a feast, because you're inviting all your relatives over or your friends.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you're even cooking for the community at the masjid.
Yeah.
So let's assume that some sisters, at least, will not be able to follow the advice that you've given. So what advice do you have for them, because they are going to be in the kitchen either way?
I'll tell you my personal experience into this, because in Ramadan we have some relatives, and we have a couple or three family days. We collect the whole family, uncles and aunts, etc. And I told my mother and my sisters one day, why all this amount of food? They will not eat all this. Ahmed, these are our habits. You cannot provide less amount of food and less variety. Told them, hey, they will not eat it. So now we are spending more time, more effort in the kitchen. Ahmed, these are our habits. The next day I told them, please, let us try to change. And I changed it. I changed the habit of serving less food they eat, and it had more variety. So the food was nicer because you're spending more effort on less amount of food.
The quality was better.
The quality was better, the variety was better, the shape of the dish, they had time for garnishing, etc. And all people got invited. Hey, we like this. We need to do this in our home. So it turned into a habit. Now, even during the course of Ramadan, when we invite relatives, we do this. We don't cook too much. So we did not spend so much time, and we improved our health, our eating habit.
Excellent.
It served many goals at one punch.
Excellent. Brother Absalom, do you have any questions? We can maybe, for the remainder episode, pose questions to Brother Ahmed. Do you have any questions that come to your mind when it relates to time management?
Let's see here. I just want to first comment on something that he just said.
Please.
He took something, but he gave him something, right? Less food, but more variety. Yes. And I think that was a really good, a good method, when you think about even it's kind of this dawah in a sense, because you're suggesting something that's better, inshallah, for them.
Yeah.
You see,
it's always good to give people the alternative, not just to tell them that this is wrong and that's it, but give them the alternative,
Yeah. So, I thought that was very, good. Alhamdulillah. So, let's see, questions. MashaAllah, the brothers really answered my personal questions, because I had my personal questions about time management and how to manage my time. And it really makes me reflect on a gift that I remember my brother gave to my mother. And what it was is, MashaAllah, my mother, she passed away some time ago. May Allah have mercy on her.
Ameen.
And she was very, she would, a doer, someone who would do a lot. She had a restaurant at a time, and she would, do these kind of things. But, you know, as far as time management, she wasn't so organized. She would just say, get a piece of paper, jot something down, this is what I want to do, or, you know, like this. And my mother gave her an organizer. And I remember this was over 20 years ago. It was a day timer, they called it at this time.
Okay.
And then, mashallah, it had a calendar in it, and a daily calendar, and then the monthly calendar, and then you would take out, it was a monthly thing, and you would take it out, and then you would file it, and you would put a new set of papers in there. And mashallah, I remember she saying, well, this really changed my life. She said, you know, I mean, all of the receipts when she would go to the store and buy food, if she wanted to go back to anything, it was just all filed monthly, you know, and it changed her whole habits of doing things in it. This time management system, mashallah.
Makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, I know she felt, I still am not organized as she was at the time. Mashallah, yeah. So I think this is just to reiterate the
Excellent.
Yeah, the time management thing is beautiful, mashallah.
Appreciate it. My dear brothers and sisters, we have a report for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, and we'll comment on it when we come back, inshallah.
Super speed Taraweeh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wait. What are you doing? Ramadan's 30 days, brother. We must finish the Quran before 30 days, brother. Again. Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. You're not going to finish like this. Faster. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Oh. We're going to make it, brother. We're going to make it. Everyone wants to finish the Quran by the 27th day. At the same time, if the recitation takes too long, they complain that it's taking too long. So some masjids, they pray Taraweeh at super fast speeds. Super speed Taraweeh. Okay, alhamdulillah, we finished the Quran. But how much of it reached our hearts? Has impacted our actions? If it just goes through one ear and out the other, then what have we really gained other than saying that, oh, we finished the Quran during Ramadan? SubhanAllah, the companions of the Prophet, they used to take 10 ayahs at a time. They would memorize, learn, and implement them. Today, masjids are competing against who can finish Taraweeh faster. It's not like we have the best microphone systems in our masjids. And when you're reciting at 100 miles per hour, it makes it really hard to concentrate, bro.
That was a short clip there about super speed Taraweeh. But Isa, your thoughts about the video?
You know, I've experienced it, alhamdulillah, not too many times. But, you know, I remember last Ramadan, I tried to go to, you know, different massages throughout the city and pray behind different reciters and things like that.
Was that in Toronto?
Yes, in Toronto, yes, alhamdulillah. And maybe one or two of them were definitely, you know, way too fast. I mean, especially when I compared to the other ones, it almost felt like they just wanted to get through it. And you don't really, it feels like you're just rushing. Just something doesn't feel right about it when the reciter's, you know, reciting super fast. And at the same time, you could barely understand, you can't understand what the reciter's reciting, you know. I mean, a part of, you know, benefiting from hearing the Quran, if you're reciting it, is reflecting over it, you know. And I mean, if it's being just, you're not really giving it, you know, its right and you know, respecting it in the proper way by just reciting so fast. So it's definitely important to, you know, recite clearly and, you know, where people praying behind you can actually, you know, understand it and reflect over the meanings, because that's one of the things that, of course, you know, we have to do when we're listening to the Quran.
Well, Ahmed, what are your thoughts as you watch this video?
Actually, we have something we call this in the corporate world, because due to reducing time, you cannot affect the quality of work you do. And we have something to a scientific term for this in the cost management. We call it value analysis. Value analysis is to do with less cost and time, but you never touch the quality. Quality should be the same or increase. So this comes when you try to improve your time management skills or reduce the time of tasks you do. This doesn't mean to negatively affect its quality. especially the Quran and praying, because Quran is not just reading the Quran, it's realizing the Quran. Realizing, feeling it in order to implement it. Because if you didn't implement it, you turned Quran, unfortunately, to be just ink on paper, while Quran are habits, are day-to-day interactions with others. It's a method. So you turned your method into ink on paper. No, you have to realize it. And by time, you will read faster and better. This is my point of view. Never touch the quality.
Your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, one, I have to say that even though it's a serious topic, that brother Baba Ali makes it very funny. Okay, mashallah, I love watching his videos because they have serious topics, but he makes them, funny. But yes, one thing I love about Egypt, and I really appreciate, is the quality of the reciters here, and the like I could call it like power Taraweeh or something, And I mean, they pray here like all night, and and a lot of times they're not going too fast. They have really good reciters here. When I was in the States, they would bring some of the imams from here and the reciters, they would bring them to the States to different masjids to lead the Taraweeh prayer. And then when I came here, mashallah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, they wouldn't recite too fast, but the salat would be very long. And it's, alhamdulillah, it's good, you know what I mean? And I found that a very beautiful experience. I find when you the quality, if we compromise the quality of salat, with reading it fast, it's really not cool, and it really takes away the feeling of the salat and reflecting on it. But when you take your time, have sabr, and listen to the Quran being recited in the correct way, mashallah, and if you have a person who's giving it its proper rights, its tajweed, it's really a really beautiful experience. It's something that I've really experienced here in Egypt more than any other place, mashallah.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah feek. Brother Isa, if you have a story for us about a time in your life, it could be inside of Ramadan or outside of Ramadan, where you tried to manage your time and it actually worked.
When I tried to manage my time, I probably wouldn't say I'm the ideal example of how to manage your time during Ramadan. I mean, especially the last few ones, alhamdulillah, they've been in the summer, so basically Isha and Taraweeh prayers will be quite late, and Fajr prayer would be quite early. So it does make, the night time, managing your time at night, it does become a little bit difficult. You want to be at the masjid, and you want to try to get some, maybe some sleep before. Doesn't always happen, so you end up kind of staying up at night, and then your day just gets turned around, and it kind of, mixes things up a little bit. So I would say right now it's a little bit tough because the timings, like in North America, and I think also in Europe too. Maghrib prayer is just after 9 o'clock, and Fajr comes in pretty early. So it does have its challenges, but we should do absolutely do our best to try to get some sleep at night, and not just stay up all night and completely turn our schedules around. Yes.
Thank you so much, brother. Brothers, we're going to take a short break, inshallah. When we'll come back, we want to talk about managing our time during i'tikaf. I think that's very, very important because, I'll tell you after the break, inshallah. Our brothers will take a short break. Sisters will take a short break. We'll be right back, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear Ask Huda viewers, given the fact that, mashallah, we receive tons of questions and inquiries to Ask Huda program, by the grace of Allah, it gives me a great pleasure to announce to you that during the blessed month of Ramadan, I will enjoy being with you live 5 days a week, every week during the month of Ramadan, from Sunday through Thursday of every week, exactly at 5 p.m. Mecca time. May Allah the Almighty accept from us.
Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for continuing to be with us here on Life Choices. We are talking once again here in this episode, inshallah, about time management during Ramadan. I want to talk to you guys about time management during i'tikaf, because right now is the time of the month where a lot of people are doing i'tikaf. And I was in i'tikaf a couple of years ago in a really, really large masjid in one of the Muslim countries. And to be honest, it did not look or feel like i'tikaf at all. You know, like the idea of, you know, a person dedicating their effort and their time to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't want to say it was non-existent because that's not true, but it was largely not there. It was more about, you know, socializing, talking, and also fights. You know, like you had different groups, you know, with different ideologies and stuff like that inside this huge masjid. Without mentioning the name of the masjid, it was actually like one of the a famous masjid where like many of the Sahaba actually put the Qibla for that masjid. Like it's narrated that 80 Sahaba put the Qibla for that masjid. Okay, it's in one of the Muslim countries. So subhanAllah, to have all these fights in there, you know, like literally fights, you know, like it almost got to the point where it was going to be fist fights. And I think really a big part of that is because people have nothing to do. You know, they feel like, okay, I'm here for 10 days and I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here, like, and I can't get out of the masjid because this is what i'tikaf is all about. So other than going to the bathroom sometimes, you know, and maybe reading Quran sometimes, I don't have anything to do. So therefore, you know, they get in fights, or they get into problems, or you know, ill speech, talking about like different sheikhs, you know, like this guy belongs to this group or this guy belongs to this group and stuff like that. So let me start with you, Brother Ahmed. I wanted to bring kind of like a real life example. What can we do in order to have the best i'tikaf and manage our time during i'tikaf so we can use those precious moments?
Sure, the process is the same for i'tikaf or other thing. First, you have to write down with pen and paper what you are going to do tomorrow. You have to do it every night before you sleep. And do it by time. From 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. This is very effective management tool to your time management the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Something else, you have to avoid distractions, because distractions, they shape one of the biggest challenges for you as Muslim. And during Ramadan, during i'tikaf, or even after Ramadan. So the fights and arguments you spoke about, so these are types of distractions. You have to avoid it in order to best manage your time.
Even if you find yourself in a situation where you witness something like that, as you said, you should, as an individual, should try to avoid it yourself.
Try to avoid it, because arguments, my opinion, I see it's a curse.
Especially inside the masjid, you know.
Inside the masjid, not the right time, not the right place, and arguing it's a curse.
Mm-hmm.
We can discuss, but not argue. So try to avoid it. Write down what you're going to have next day, and make it. It's like a timer, or it's like alarm. And you can set your alarm or your mobile in order to know, I started at 8 sharp and I have to finish at 10 sharp. Maybe you finish at 10:15. Fine, it's not a disaster, but try the next day or the other task in order to get faster.
Mm-hmm.
And please don't forget, never touch the quality.
Great advice. Thank you so much.
Well.
Brother Isa, your thoughts, and then Brother Abdul Salam.
Okay. I would say it really will come down to the people you decide to surround yourself with,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the i'tikaf. Like, is it those guys who are just talking about, you know, useless things all day long, not doing anything useful with their time? Or are you going to, you know, be around those brothers who are going to remind you in a nice way, maybe teach you some knowledge that they know? And, you know, I feel like that's something that, you know, we have to make a conscious effort of, is choosing the right people to spend their time within that 10 days, and of course, in general, throughout the year, inshallah.
Beautiful. Brother Absalam.
Yeah, you know what? I totally agree with that because, if you're in this environment, you put yourself in this environment for 10 days, yeah, try to see who's going to be there, the kind of people who are going to be there. Do you have, what kind of structure they're having, what kind of lectures are they having there, what kind of elders, the shayukh, who are going to be there. Because, I've been in those situations too where, the brothers in the masjid, it's a lot of young guys, and they play around, they're hanging out in the kitchen and stuff like that, And I mean, a little that happens everywhere. But the general tone should be one of, of worship, of really seclusion, really. I mean, I understand that even the Prophet, he had a tent that he had when he went into the masjid for itikaf. He had a tent, actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he had a tent where he would, seclude himself, When you go in there, it's not so much a time for socializing, but a time to internalize and to self-reflect and get ready for the rest of the year, So, I totally agree with the brother. When you choose your masjid, try to choose a masjid that, it has a nice program there and the people are kind of gauge the community and what's going on.
Speaking of time management, I'm trying to manage the time in this episode as much as I can because we only have a few minutes left. But there are some very important pointers that we need to talk about. Brother Ahmed, we often plan to manage our time, but sometimes we fail. Okay? And then when we fail, that's really where the disaster comes. We totally give up. I've tried it. This whole time management thing. Maybe I didn't do it in the past, but now I actually did it and I failed. All the things that I put on paper are not really being implemented in real life. It's not happening. Maybe it's just me. Maybe the system is okay, but I'm a bad person, or I'm a naturally unorganized person. This is the way I am. When a person feels that, and when he experiences failure when it comes to time management, how can he restore hope?
Hope when it comes with true internal faith, because when you fell down, it's your choice to get up and continue and try again or not. So some people, they surrender to fail, and others, they fight and they stand up again, and they fail again and they stand up again, etc. And my opinion, in order to reduce the number of times you fell down, you have to utilize some tools. So when we speak about time management and we discuss, but we need to add some practical tools to manage our time. So for example, we have a rule or a statistical tool called Pareto analysis. This calls about 80-20 rule. 80% of your problems falls into a certain category. When you solve these problems, this means that you solved 80% of your problems. So, practical speaking, take the free times you have in your life and put them on an Excel sheet, Microsoft Excel, and apply the Pareto. So you can know how to do Pareto over YouTube, etc. It's around 3-minute education.
Can you spell it for us? How do you spell it?
Pareto. P-A-R-E-T-O. It's called Pareto analysis. Pareto is an Italian economist. Okay, he discovered this in the 15th century, and he already created this rule. Put your free times. Sorry?
It works?
It works with me personally, and it applies on lots of things. So take your free times and put them on Excel sheet, which is the Pareto analysis. It will show you a graph, and this graph sets you 3 bars. The first 3 bars are your 80%, and you find a way to do something during this 80% of your time. All right? This is something practical you can apply in order to best manage your time.
Excellent.
And after you fill it, keep doing the Pareto, because this is the continuous improvement. So instead of doing the Pareto for 5 hours of your time, by time you will find it for around an hour. And an hour will be continuously reduced until you fill all your time. So this is what we call continuous improvement. This is a practical tool that you can apply for your time, for your costs, for everything.
Excellent. Brother Absalam, and Brother Isa and Brother Ahmed, I want to ask you guys all the same question. Is there a relationship between technology and all the technological advances that we have and time management? I'm sure we all know about the negative effect of these things. Technology helps a lot of us waste time. But can we look at it from a positive, perspective? Are there ways, or is there a connection between using technologies in some way and trying to, better utilize or use our time, other than going to websites that are named something like "kill your time"? You watch videos to kill your time, stuff like that.
Well, I think that they help in the actual practical management of your time. I like this calendar that they have that comes with a lot of the Macs, where it's just a regular calendar. You pull it up, and the days you put your your plan in there, and then it gives you little alarms.
Yeah, the reminders.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff
a simple.
like
it doesn't give you motivation. Usually, I don't know, somebody might be motivated by this one, but usually it's not a motivational tool, but it's an organizational tool that helps out a lot. So I think, technology can be used. Just like at first, you can have your paper and your pencil, but you can now we're going paperless a lot of the time.
Definitely.
You can use your mobile device. We have all kinds of calendars. Like I was speaking before, about the gift to my mother of this. It was, this big leather binder thing. But now this is very outdated. Now we can just do it in the little handheld little things. MashaAllah, it's the same organization or even better. It's not motivation, but it's definitely, it's helpful. Alhamdulillah.
Excellent, excellent. Brother Isa?
I mean, I would say certain ways that we use like technology. I mean, to stay connected with people. It's great to reconnect with old friends and stay in contact with people that you interact with on a daily basis. But I think it's a matter of using these things within moderation and not overdoing it and spending too much time. And maybe you could watch something beneficial on YouTube, but then the next thing you click to is like something that doesn't have so much benefit, and next thing you know, you're up till 4 in just watching YouTube videos. And I'm sure it's happened to many happened to me many times and a lot of people. So just using these things that we have within moderation, and
so basically it's like a double-edged sword,
right?
Technology.
Yeah, I would agree with
we
that.
We can use it either to waste our time or to manage our time. Your thoughts?
Yes, I agree with this because it's all about utilization. How are you going to do this? We all utilize and we use YouTube. So do you use YouTube for beneficial videos like educational, inspirational, etc., or you do it for songs and video clips? So it is how you use it. I see technology is a gift. If you take example, the tablets. So you can read Quran over a tablet. You can chat over a tablet. You can play a game over a tablet. Again, you have the tool, you have the technology, which is a gift, but your utilization is your choice.
Can I just add to that really quickly?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, you're right, because nowadays you can go to college on a tablet.
Yes.
You can get a degree on your cell phone. It's like, it's amazing. You can have an iPhone and you can earn a bachelor's degree, a accredited degree. So like you said, it's how you use it, MashaAllah, it is a gift.
Yes.
Or it could be a curse. It's our...
it depends on your utilization.
Yeah, our utilization, MashaAllah, yeah.
Excellent. I also think technology helps, makes a lot of things easier. For example, like imagine if we didn't have like a washing machine and a dryer, right? Or at least a washing machine. Not everyone has a dryer, but how difficult would it be for us to wash our clothes? It would take a long time. So using technology helps us, have more free time that we can use to do, I guess, not just chores, but other things in our lives that are beneficial.
Yes, because why is it a gift? It saves you time to do something else. So in Ramadan, when you have your tablet, you can read the Quran and enter a website to search for information. You can talk to a friend and give him an advice. You can study a course. You can do this while you are sitting in your bus, you're back home, at your free time, etc.
Yeah.
So it's a gift and should be utilized well.
Inshallah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us all manage our time during Ramadan and after Ramadan as best as we can, inshallah. Thank you so much, brothers, for being with us. Brother Abdul Salam, thank you so much for being with us. Brother Ahmed Fayad, thank you so much for being with us. And Brother Isa, thank you so much for being with us. Barakallahu feek. My dear brothers and sisters, Jazakumullahu khairan, Barakallahu feekum. We'll see you again next episode, our final episode of Life Choices next week, inshallah. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Choices, chances, dreams and goals, many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man. Choices, chances, dreams and goals, many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man. Ooh.